All right, guys, we are live. A big episode of TigerBait Live tonight, of course, brought to you by Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. Got a lot to discuss tonight. Was getting ready for the show. And then Wilson Alexander, the first report with the Advocate, that Maason Smith will not play in the first game against Florida State in Orlando. Looks like NFL and NIL infraction. And, it's just had some good karma all through camp. Knock on wood, no big injury reports. And Maason Smith, who, of course, got injured in the first series last year and missed the entire year, and now this happens. And I've got my phone's been blowing up. Buddy's has been. And it's just a lot of LSU fans really angry about that. And I don't know what you have to do in this day and age in the Wild Wild West of NIL to have the NCAA suspend you for a game. It's got to be something ridiculous. And a part of me wonders, well, most of these guys on the football team pretty much do the same things. So I bet he ain't the only one, but who knows? Not as in, how do you mess up an NIL? I mean, anything goes. Welcome in, buddy.
Good to see the publisher, TigerBait. He's the spicy one. I'm the calm one tonight. It seems like for whatever reason, doesn't matter how many years you go back, surprise, 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 stuff comes out with the first game. Life is 10% of what happens and 90% of how you deal with it. The first thing I say is that it makes sense now why Jacoby and Gilroy was getting all those reps as of late. And, oh, by the way, Tank, you got to be a little smarter now, not losing your control. They need you for this first game. But if truth be told, Maason Smith had that freakish injury and didn't produce anything. He's been playing high. He's rusty. My point is that everybody's freaking out. That's a normal tendency. But at LSU, guys have got to step up. You didn't have him last year. But once again, this kid cannot seem to dodge the pothole of life so far as an LSU Tiger.
Well, obviously it's an NCAA deal, because if it's a one-game suspension and it was an LSU violation, they could say you're not going to play against Grambling.
Right.
So it's just unfortunate. Look, there's a lot of accolades being put on Maason Smith, and a lot of it is, look, he was a 5-star coming out of Terrebonne High School. I've always been a little concerned about him being 6'7" and, like you said, playing high. I'm of the mindset I like 6'2" and 6'3" defense inside guys. But what they do at defensive fronts now is obviously different. Jaquella Roy is a tall guy. And then Wingo takes it to the extreme. And what is he? Maybe 5'10", 5'10 and a half?
No, I mean, they list him at 6'1".
Yeah, he ain't 6. If he's 6'1", I'm 6'2".
Don't you love the spicy publisher?
That's the biggest load. Come on, man.
I'm usually the spicy one. This is a fun show for me. But here's where I'm coming from, folks. Look, this is what coaches get paid millions of dollars for. There used to be a bumper sticker. Can I say, shit happens. Stuff happens. This is what happens every freaking year. And here it is, 11 days. I love 7 and 11, supposed to be lucky numbers. And you get the bad news. Once again, now you're going to have Matt House figure out what he's going to do. And I think we all know one of the keys for the defense in 11 nights, put pressure on their quarterback, make him throw, give him small windows. And then when you get back there, whether it's Perkins, Spates, Wingo, or whatever, you hit him and you punish him. Not illegally, but I'm saying get physical with him and make him looking. Maason Smith was probably going to play in this game, 40 plays, maybe, if there's 60 or 70. So now Jacoby and Gilroy, Jordan Jefferson, and they're going to bring in a bunch of rushers, Braden Swinson. We know we got to see what Ovio Gofu and
brought Parrish Shand out tonight.
Parrish Shand, and oh, by the way, we will make our predictions 7 and 18. I didn't clear this with the boss man, Mike, but I'm going to give you my predictions on who will be 7 and 18. I think that's going to be named.
Did you get any impression when he was asked that question last night that maybe one of the numbers might not be given out, or he wasn't too enthusiastic?
I think the fan base feels more about that. Dude, look, Brian Kelly, I'm the first one to ask him when he got here, and he said, yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, every year when this rolls out, I get people asking me 7 or 18, and I don't give a damn.
No, a lot of people.
In fact, most years I don't think they should give it out. Some of the people that have gotten it don't deserve it. And if I'm Jacob Hester in that group, I start to get a little bit more protective of it.
Yeah.
I don't know how it's set up, but.
Well, I don't want to get us off track there because we'll get back to Maason Smith. But look, Savion Jones has had a great camp. He is appreciably bigger. Paris Shan, who we interviewed tonight, what a culture. Toronto and Connecticut, Arizona, and now over here. Talked about crawfish and all the things, get acclimated. Wingo is going to be there, but this is physically, man, when you run out the tunnel, Maason Smith, everybody goes, woo. I just hope the kid has a little bit more luck.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I think it was McElroy or somebody said, well, they got the arguably the best defensive tackle in the SEC. What is that based on?
Yeah, potential. That's what it is, and that's what the draft usually is, potential. But Maason Smith, hopefully, and Lord knows if the LSU fan base is not going to blow a gasket when we find out what it really is involved. Illegal benefit, Mike has been working on it. I've been working on it. But once again, it's something that seemed like it happens every year. So I've been down that road. A lot of people go overreact, just like Caleb Jackson. Mike says, look, because we saw Caleb Jackson, okay? We saw him for 2 or 3 weeks. He'd miss a ball and get intercepted. He'd fumble, whatever. But, man, he lit up on Saturday. And that's one of the things coaches have got to figure out. Who are my guys that are really good on game day? He got lit up, but those guys were tired. That was a dead-legged Tiger team that practiced 6 straight days, 2.5 hours, and then went through 43 snaps in the scrimmage. So that's not against the first team. But that all being said,
they did drills for at least 2 hours before they even went to the scrimmage.
But the 3 guys are back, and now we know why they didn't need to rush Maason Smith. How long do you think they've known that he's going to be sitting out?
I bet they've known for a while.
Yeah, I think so too, and that's why we've been seeing. So now you got to get Maason Smith ready for Grambling. It does put a chink in the armor with the D-line, and don't you agree though? It's one of the areas LSU's got to win. 11 nights from tonight. Their defensive line has got to win the battle at the line of scrimmage, wrap up tackling. And, of course, as we know, I'm a real big fan of Omar Spates. I really expect Perkins from one side, Spates from another. They're going to put pressure. But Maason Smith really –
It's just one of those deals where if Maason Smith is the difference maker that a lot of people think he is, you want to have all the bullets in your gun when you go, because it is a pivotal game. You win that game and the table's set for you until later in the season when you get to play some saltier opponents. Josh Chapman with a super chat. Sounds like Florida State calling a favor from the NCAA.
I'm seeing a lot of that on social media. And look, I'm not one to overreact. Like I said, it seems like it happens every year. I don't know if it's LSU screw up, Maason Smith screw up, or whatever.
I don't know. I don't know what you have to do to screw up NIL.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's some of the stuff we see out there is absolutely bonkers. I hope whatever it is was very lucrative to justify it.
Yeah,
because what we're seeing out there is insane right now. Thanks for that super chat, Josh. Let's scroll up and get this comments. Roger Ramjet, Mike and Buddy, good to be with you guys. Think we're going to have a pretty good team this year. Go Tigers! Glad to have you with us. James Moore, hey Mike and Buddy, you think Denbrock took a peek at that 2019 offense playbook because the weapons are so similar at each positions this year? Look, Buddy and I've talked about it. I don't, maybe I'm revised in history, but I don't think there was a whole lot of times last year where I questioned the play calling and we even had that bet in the preseason who was going to get the brunt of the fan base, and the highest odds were on Denbrock. I think everybody was absolutely happy with him. If you were disgruntled with the offense, you were upset with Jaden Daniels and missing some wide open guys over the middle or downfield.
And holding it too long. He did hold it too
long.
But
I think Denbrock's got to be looking at what he's got at every position and just be salivating because he's never had skill positions like that.
Well, here's what I've seen through the years, Mike. And of course, very seldom have we had access to see these scrimmages. But he showed us the passing scrimmage. And what you saw Saturday in those 43 snaps, especially with ones against ones, was a lot of dink and dunk in that 2019 type of thing. Look, Malik Neighbors, that's my prediction who's going to get 7. I think Malik Neighbors gets 7. I think Josh Williams gets 18. That's just my prediction. Doesn't mean a hill of beans, but they both meet a lot. I don't know if you had a chance to hear Josh Williams' interview, but man,
he's super.
He is the heart and soul of this team. If he's back healthy, Diggs is back healthy, goes back to why he kind of calmed everybody down about Caleb Jackson. But once again, the coach only showed us the passing. They're going to have another scrimmage, but they're running where they go third. They don't go all the way to the ground. And they're going to have their depth chart to go start on Florida State tomorrow. Want to make sure you have your legs. But now, Jacoby and Gilroy, and I saw him talking to him after he got in a couple of a little, not fisticuffs, but he got in a couple of shoving matches. One of those coaches was talking on the sidelines for a good 5 minutes, probably telling, dude, you can't get thrown out in the game. You got to be cool. You got to be rocked. That's his 3rd year. And as you mentioned with Maason Smith, Mike, if you looked up his stats for his career right now, people would say, why is this guy getting idolized and brought? He was a first-team All-SEC, and go look up his stats. But he does have the potential. We hope that he gets to that point. It won't be game week 1 this year.
Big crowd in here already, guys. If you're enjoying the show, hit that like button for us. Please do that for us if you're enjoying the show. Cameron Tate, thank you for another good week, guys. I've heard that. Are your thoughts? I tell you what, I was watching the Netflix Florida Gator deal. Finished episode 3 about an hour and a half ago, and it was Tebow at LSU in the phone. It's. I think there could be this kind of smack talk. We've seen it on our channel throughout the summer, but yeah, it's I'm real anxious to see what that line, how that's going to move next week. Have you seen any movement yet? I haven't,
but this could move it a little bit. But I'll tell you this, and I understand Florida State and their fan base. Look up the history of Florida State and LSU. They have kicked LSU's butt. I think it's like 8-2 or something like that, Mike.
Mm-hmm.
And so I know everybody said, well, if this would have happened, if Malik wouldn't have fumbled those 2 points, but they did win last year, and Brian Kelly's played some close games against Florida State.
The Florida State series really got out of whack. Charlie Mack, Stovall, I think it skipped over Arnsparger, didn't it? I don't think Arnsparger faced Florida State.
I don't think so. Yeah.
And then it went to, did Archer get him? I think once, and then Hallman. I mean, that was a lot of wins.
Well, what I'm saying is that
had LSU faced them later last season, that would have been different.
They do have a good football team, and now let's bring in something to the equation that we didn't get a chance. And by the way, thank all of you for so many views on that practice report. If the truth be told, Mike and I were going, and I was in the middle of talking about the offensive line and what we're going to see, and we talked about Mason's Lunford coming in and making headway. Then he got hurt. Then we talked about Marlon Martinez getting cross-trained at center and guard. Well, here it is, right? We're getting ready to talk about Lance Hurd. And the camera, Mike says, oh, no, the side. It was so hot, it shut off. I never got back.
My camera is up on a tripod, and we're in that parking lot. And what time would that have been? About 2 o'clock?
It was 1:30, 1:45.
So the sun's right overhead, hitting the back of the camera, shuts it down. And it was hot as a firecracker. I had to get in the vehicle and put it in front of the air conditioning vent so we could finish off the segment.
But because of that, that's one of the reasons we didn't mention Lance Hurd, and we never got back to the drops. Now, I know a lot of people concentrated on the drops. Brian Thomas Jr., all of them, Aaron Anderson, all of them. But, man, when you practice 6 straight days and you work 2.5 hours, but then you scrimmage, I think they were just tired. I really do.
Yeah.
I think they were dead-legged and tired. Back to Mason, they knew this. When you look back and look at the film, you can see Jacoby and Gilroy. He's going to have to step up in this ball game now, and Matt House will figure out a way to mask the departure. He just got dealt with him. I don't know how long they've known. Maybe they decided to release it tonight. But as always, folks, trick or treat for the first game of the year.
Larry's saying the NCAA is so wrong for what they're always doing to LSU. Them country Bamas can cheat and never get punished. Because I've got tunnel vision for the LSU beat. I don't really look around, but it sure does seem like, of course, they rectified the marijuana policy. Will Wade got that done before he left. But LSU always seems to have guys that are dealing with something. And I mean, it used to be what on average we could probably set the line at over and under 4 guys.
Oh, the clearinghouse every year. Clearinghouse would go to Destin and all these other places, cruises that we probably paid for, and they come back and they don't clear a guy until a week or 2 into the season. Look, no clue at all. And here's the bad thing about what just happened today and the release of Maason Smith out. Mike, they're not going to have this kind of power in a few years. I don't know if it's 2 years, 4 years, 5 years, but they will get their power stripped. It's just a matter of time.
I'm astonished. I mean, this has got to be something that's just so, something that was maybe a flippant comment made in an interview.
I have no idea.
And they were able to get him on something. But it's like with the dollars that are being thrown out there, I mean, what are we seeing in Missouri now where if they sign with the Missouri Tigers and you're in state, they can start getting paid before they even leave?
Yeah.
I mean, we're hearing stuff about commitment bonuses and signing bonuses with recruits that are about to, kick off their senior year next week. It's got to be something funny. Justin Johnson comes in here and says Florida State by 50. All right, Justin.
Well, I'll take LSU.
Look, DJ Ferg says Florida State by 20. Whoa, we got some Seminoles in here tonight.
Like I said, I understand their confidence, but I do think that they don't realize, Mike, they don't keep up with LSU's talent. But let me tell you, Logan Diggs is a difference maker at running back. I'm talking about another body, a quality guy. He's played against Florida State. Notre Dame's played against Florida State. And Kelly's had tough games with him. Aaron Anderson, LSU didn't have him. The years of LSU not having that guy that can put his foot in the ground and make big plays with explosive quickness. Boom. Aaron Anderson is such a big benefactor of they're going to get him the ball in space. Malik Neighbors, if you double him, you got other guys and you got all these running backs. And now with Hurd coming in here, I got to ask you, when Kelly mentioned 53 at the press conference yesterday, want to see what 53 can do, want to see what Stamps can do, want to see what Weeks can do. Do you think?
I think Stamps is one of the biggest pleasant surprises.
I do too, but I was going to ask you, do you think Hurd gets some snaps against Florida State?
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I think it just depends on how fast he can come in the next couple of weeks. Remember that day?
If he doesn't, it's no slight on him.
Well, remember,
because he's coming.
Remember that day we did a report, and I said it. He piled drove Deshaun Womack. Not only did he pick him up and pancaked him, then he jumped on him again, and he is mean and nasty. But are you going to put a true freshman out there on the wing? You had to last year with Will Campbell against Jared Verse. That will be a much better matchup. But Jared Verse, if he's coming on the other side, you're putting him against Lance Hurd. That's a hell of a challenge for a freshman. You got to be incredibly mature to be able to handle that.
All right, let's hear from Mike and Alex at Pride Roofing.
Hey, it's Michael and Alex again with Pride Roofing. Here we grow again. Did your roof get to Niger and Hurricane Ida?
The insurance company is playing game with you.
Don't forget, August 29th is your 2-year anniversary to make a claim.
Your neighbor got new roof. Why not you?
Pay your deductible. We're fortified, certified.
We do your roof. You came on the Pride umbrella. Bet on Pride.
855
Pride
16.
There you go. Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, Pride Roofing. Give them a call, 855 Pride 16. Say TigerBait. And when they come to give you a free roof inspection, you're going to get TigerBait free for a year. TigerBait Premium. That's a $99 value. They're footing the bill. And, of course, based in Albany, Hammond, just moved into a big facility. And, of course, a new office in Houma, a big office here in Baton Rouge. They've got you covered big time on the North Shore. All of South Louisiana, Pride Roofing is who you want to call, 855 Pride 16.
You know, we talk about it. We talked about it with Kim Mulkey. We talked about it with BK his first year. We talked about it with Jay Johnson. You take great pride in when LSU wins a natty You're going to take great pride when you do business. We want to thank Paul and all of the many of you who've done business with them. Look, it's a word-of-mouth business. The whole thing that we try to tell you in the Pride Promise, the roof over your head is just as important as if not more than the roof over ours. Metal roofs, very hot right now. Once again, they're taking all the precautions. They get there early. They get it done. And as we know, Mike, 855-PRIDE-16, Mike Kirby in our Baton Rouge office, give them an opportunity. I promise you, they will sharpen the pencil. They will do everything along with that free roofing inspection. Make sure you tell them Mike and Buddy sent you over.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic.
Great people.
Man, we got a big crowd in here, guys. Thanks to all of you tuning in. If you're enjoying the show, again, hit that like button. And let's see if I'm going to scroll up and get to some of your comments. I don't know if you saw it earlier this evening. We got player interviews up on the site. We had Josh Williams. We had Paris Shan, Damian Ramos, and Zara Alexander. A real nice group tonight. I'm assuming because we got Nussmeier last week, they're probably holding Jaden Daniels till game week for player interviews. And I don't think we're going to get BK again until Monday, huh?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. By the way, Damian Ramos and Jay Bramblett said it last week when he talked to the media. They worked a lot. I don't think people realize Slade Roy, your snapper, Damian Ramos, your kicker, and Jay Bramblett, your holder. They can work their butts off this summer. So everything is much more automatic. You know, in spring, he missed some field goals in the spring game, much smoother. Look, I can guarantee you very few things. One thing I will guarantee you for this upcoming season, special teams will be appreciably better. And even though we didn't get Diaco, every special teams player says he's very positive. He's very like Energizer battery. He's got 9 lives. And, I mean, they have got this thing down. Aaron Anderson, a return game. But I really expect LSU to be much appreciably improved with special teams. And, Mike, no disrespect to last year, but even Bramblett said it, probably was a major factor in 3 of the 4 losses.
Dane Bergeron with a super chat. Hey, guys, keep the people in Southwest Louisiana in your prayers. Fires are out of control. Over 15,000 acres destroyed and still going.
Wow. Holy cow.
That area cannot – they need at least a century of good luck.
Unbelievable.
I mean, it's just one thing after another.
Crazy.
That area of the state. I mean, look, the whole state's.
By the way, praise the Lord, we actually had a little cloud cover. I'm driving in here to your neighborhood. You had a little rain today.
We had thunder showers.
Yeah.
So power went out for a little bit.
I wish we'd get some rain, but Dane, we certainly appreciate you and what you do for the site and the interaction and keeping Mike in line on his fedora hat to wearing.
Yeah, thank you for that, Dane. Big time. Stephen Miller, any news on how Wingo has looked in the practices scrimmage? Have heard very little of his name so far. He's looked great.
Yeah.
Man, he's Mr. Consistent. I'm getting after him, making fun of them listening. What, did they really list him at 6'2"? What did they list him at?
I thought it was 6'1", 295.
Okay.
But obviously, as we know, football players generally.
That's how we're measured now. I like to announce to everybody I'm officially 6'1".
Okay. Hey, I'll say this about Mekhi Wingo. He comes to play. Everybody always talks about the motor. He's just a smart football player. When you're a D lineman, you've got to do a couple things. You got to know how to use your hands as weapons, and you got to know whether it's a run or a pass. And I mean, I'm talking about like this. And he just knows how to play the game. Jordan Jefferson, of course, comes over, 317 pounds, 6'4" from West Virginia. Tank Gilry. And Fitzgerald West now, who's undersized at 285. He got some reps as a 3rd or 4th team nose guard. But I think they're going to come up with some special packages. And as we know, we'll get into it at some point during the show. Sage Ryan looks to be that starting corner. And I'm going to give you the scoop and skinny before you get to Screaming Reds. He's going to play 7 yards off the line of scrimmage with some zone coverage. And it happens every year. Your phone's blowing up. Why are they playing? Because they're playing zone and they want the ball to come in front of them and tackle. You heard Kelly talking about tackling. Look, I hope 15 has a hell of a year.
He is a great tackler. He is a very good tackler.
I hope he has a great year. He's going to get an opportunity. Zy Alexander, Deuce Chestnut, and Ashton Stanford.
Got to have some pressure off the edge. You got to have pressure up the middle. You got questions about LSU's cornerbacks and maybe safeties. You got to have some pass rush. All right, guys, let me scroll down and get some more of these. Fire 3449. Mike, slightly off topic, but Skeens and Dillon have already been moved up to AA. Yeah, where is it that I see Skeens arrived yesterday? What team?
All I know is that
He's going to play Saturday.
yeah, Cruz and well deserved. Trey Morgan is hot.
Altoona.
Trey Morgan's hot right now, and of course, Skeens went public and saying that he definitely will be going to some gymnastics meet this year. LSU.
Chris Scott, Mike, I love Kim Mulkey, but that schedule is Charmin soft considering the team she's returning.
Oh, the women's basketball
Look, she's got
non-conference schedule.
She's got Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech.
That's a nice one. What else she's got? We put it up earlier. I in my mind, I thought that they were getting they were putting out the entire schedule.
Yeah, they got a couple trips.
I will say this though. We were talking about Super Bowl Sunday for LSU South Carolina. From what I understand, it's not likely it'll be on Super Bowl Sunday. But I think what really matters is that it's on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
South Carolina home game.
Yeah,
but
that'll be a hard.
Colorado is a good basketball team in Vegas, and Virginia, the Cayman Islands, and Virginia Tech. I mean, that's good. Now, Virginia Tech is your marquee game though, your marquee non-conference game. So,
I did not remember until
she's not going to schedule a home and home at Stanford. She's not going to schedule a home and home at UConn. I think the only way those type of games will happen is to see ESPN flexes their muscle and has to put it together. But I understand. It's my understanding talking to people, the egos amongst those coaches, they're not going to be the one to call the other one.
Yeah.
It's got to be a match that ESPN does.
I was going to say, I did not realize it until they had to write up about the schedule. LSU was losing to Virginia Tech 9 points going into the last quarter.
They're good.
And as we know, everybody was saying, recruit that forward to come over here. Of course, you ended up with Haley Van Liff and then the great combo forward from DePaul.
They think you can maybe have 5 or 6 SEC teams in the top 25 this coming season.
It's going to be a great season.
Yeah. Ole Miss is going to be good. Mississippi State, Texas A&M, Tennessee, LSU, South Carolina. Most of the season, there's only 2 SEC teams in the top 25 last year, right? 3, and then 3 with Tennessee got in there.
Yeah. Well, it took a while. Remember, LSU was,
but everybody was young.
Yeah.
So. Stephen Miller says Caleb Jackson will have 2 touchdowns in the second half of the Grambling State game.
I mean, that's another question. We asked about Hurt. I'm going to put you on the spot again since you missed the spicy tonight. When does Caleb Jackson first see the field? Probably Grambling, right? I mean, that's a lot of guys to get.
You know how BK has said more than once that he doesn't like that Army game on the schedule? Do you think that game is really going to be maybe tighter than you think it should be?
Well, he said that, but he forgot that they changed their offense. They're not that old stuff that Georgia Tech used to run, that triple option. They went to a new offense this year. But back to
they've got the kid. What's his name from Catholic High that went up there? Really good offensive lineman.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see him this year.
So speaking of Catholic High, I know they got a DB, a safety that's going to be a big time player. What, he's 26.
We're going to be seeing a
25
lot.
To 26.
We're seeing a lot of players jamboree action this weekend, and if you're heading out to watch high school games, double, triple check kickoffs. They're moving a lot of football games. What did I see? One of them is kicking off at 8:30.
Mm-hmm.
High schools are getting smart, and because you're only playing a jamborees, a half of football, They're making all the start times as late as they can to get the kids out of the heat, and it's smart, particularly at venues where you've got 2 or 3 jamboree games at one site. They're pushing those back. And I think in some of them, they're actually doing away with the JV having some action at the same place.
Light clothes, plenty of H2O, plenty of Powerade and Gatorade Zero.
Absolutely.
And of course, we always tell you about Drip IV, which Mike will talk about at some point tonight.
Well, you bring them up. Let's go ahead and talk about it. You guys need to get out there and see them. LSU fans, you want to beat that heat, get over to Drip IV for all your hydration needs. The heat has been killer this summer, and the dehydration is real. Brittany and the staff over at Drip IV will guide you through the perfect IV that fits your needs. The IVs are also great for anyone feeling under the weather or in need of an energy boost. They are loaded with vitamin C and other great vitamins, amino acids, and electrolytes designed to get you back to feeling your best in a hurry. Whether it's a hangover, a cold, or preparing for a vacation, they have what you need. Located next to Sushiyama and Iverstein's in Perkins Crossing on the corner of Perkins and Eston, a super convenient spot and always welcome walk-ins. Go ahead and roll in there. They'll get you hooked up. For our Lafayette Tiger fans, head to your local Drip in Cordoba off of Ambassador Caffrey, First Medical Office building on the right. Drop in, check them out, and mention hearing them on our show, and you're going to get $10 off your first IV drip. For appointments, you can book online or at the location closest to you. Drip IV, no one better. And I'm telling you, a lot of people, everybody you know, including yourself, is dehydrated. Nobody's 100% hydrated. You go get a Drip IV, and you're going to feel a lot better.
I would have had to go. I would have to have gone there if we would have had access this last week. I got a little beat, folks, at the end. As you could tell, a couple of guys thought we looked like burnt crawfish on that Saturday when the camera had to shut down. It was so hot. But look, it's just common sense. Once again, I like to cut the grass. I can't cut the grass when it's 104. If you're going to do it early. Got to be smart. Last thing you want to do, you, your family, your kid, whoever. I got a friend of mine that she texts me, hey, practice is going to be at 6:37 tonight versus 4 o'clock. That's common sense. I'm glad they're doing it, Mike. And it will be interesting to see. Somebody asked me, will LSU get an afternoon game in Tiger Stadium? I don't have any idea, but can you imagine how hot that would be on that side? Oof.
Well, I don't know what's going to be in Starkville, but that's an 11 a.m. kickoff.
Yeah.
So
11 a.m. to 2 is not that
but
bad.
Look, there's been a 5. I was talking to Eric Asher on New Orleans radio yesterday. And he's like you, watches the stats, and he's like, Baton Rouge has been 5 degrees hotter than New Orleans. I don't know how that happens, but it's crazy what we've been getting around here.
BK ended the press conference yesterday by saying, hey, it'll be 105 tomorrow, and we'll be out there. So the good thing about it, Mike, these guys are going to be in shape. I think they pushed them all the way to the limit after the scrimmage, gave them off on Sunday, had to go to school on Monday. And here it is now, starting preps for Florida State tomorrow. In case you missed it, rumors running rampant. Wilson Alexander from the Advocate first broke the story. Maason Smith not going to suit up against Florida State because of illegal benefits, 1-game suspension. So I'm sure Coach Kelly will address that. But we've seen it. Now that we look at it, now you see some of the practice and the reps that people have been getting. Wingo will start, and then you're going to have an interchanging D tackle next to him.
Look what we got here. We got Dylan McKay from 90210 up on the screen. He says, y'all LSU fans going to be just as mad as y'all were last year when y'all lost. I honestly feel bad for y'all. I don't know about that, but, I think you're wrong, but we'll see.
And look, I'm going to tell Dylan this. I don't think the LSU fan base knows as much about Florida State as the Florida State people do. And I also don't think they realize what LSU has. Now, they got a good corner from Virginia that LSU wanted. He would be starting over here right now. And so there are some weaknesses with LSU. But I'll just tell you this. What was his name?
Dylan McKay.
Dylan. I think even with Maason Smith out, if you can block LSU's front seven, then they definitely have a chance to win the game. But once again, I think LSU's going to look appreciably different from what you saw in New Orleans last year.
All right, let's see what we got here.
We love the interaction with the Florida State people. We get it a lot with our views and interaction. They go crazy with all that stuff.
All right, Travis Wilburn. Let's talk about recruiting, but preferably Dominic McKinley. Doesn't look good, Travis. Is it Texas? Is it Ohio State? I don't think it's Oklahoma. A lot of people think Texas. I've been saying for weeks, don't sleep on Ohio State, but it doesn't look like LSU. And we'll get more at digging around on that one next week.
Well, just let me ask the question. So they delayed offering him as a junior. Is that correct? Or is that?
Look, man,
Dominic McKinley.
I was there for Karen Crow when he was there.
Uh-huh.
And nothing flashed. I was there that night.
Okay.
I had to go back and look at my film.
Okay. And so what we're saying here is that
big kid.
Yeah, big kid, a lot of potential, raw, 6'5", 280. But Brian Kelly, of course, got involved in the recruiting and on the splash. He was recruiting him and his brother, offered his little brother. If he wants to go out of state, nothing you can do. But once again, I feel confident that, and let's just say it, they're going to have to find some D tackles and D linemen coming in here in this next couple of classes.
They've got to resolve this.
And they're going to have to do it, whether it be a high school recruiter or
they've got to resolve this revolving door of defensive line coaches. Yep. They need some continuity there. Still keep coaching your prayers, but that hurts.
But I'm saying D tackle and DN are going to be, they're going to be some real key points for LSU defensive line recruiting the next couple of classes. They don't have any stalwarts right now committed for 24.
All right, let's see. Michael Eunice from Camp reports, I've seen Florida State's secondary is a lot like ours. Who's going to stop our receivers? I think overall, I like LSU's defense more than Florida State's as a whole.
And now, look, I did look up. Johnny Wilson is 6'7".
And Florida State does not have all the offensive weapons that LSU has.
No, but I was just going to say they do have Johnny Wilson, who's 6'7", 240.
Absolutely.
And Deion Coleman, who's 6'4", 215. That's the kid that came from Opelousas. And we know they feel like the Florida State fan, to a man, to a woman, to a kid, wouldn't trade Jordan Travis for Jaden Daniels. You've heard that talk. But as you alluded to, man, wait till you have to tackle Malik Neighbors, Brian Thomas Jr., and Aaron Anderson. And we're not even getting into the running backs. I don't know. You always try to figure it out. Is this going to be a defensive game, offensive game? I don't know. But Florida State secondary, you're going to have a hell of a challenge. And of course,
Mason Taylor is a whole different animal than he was.
Yeah, much better. But I think they're going to make a concerted effort to go with the short game, get it out of his hands quick. And look, whether it's a zig, a zag, you're going to have Anderson in motion, reverses, and Malik Neighbors wants to.
Here's the bottom line.
He had 2 fumble punts.
Here's the bottom line. With all the smack talk, there really isn't smack talk. I don't know any LSU fan that doesn't have any respect for Florida State.
Right.
I mean, I think it's going to be a really good game. I think when the line's at 2 points, 2.5, that tells you everything. So I think it's gonna be another fantastic football game. All right, let's see. Man, boy, we got a bunch of 13-year-old Florida State guys in here. Eric DeLyon, Mike, any thoughts on Jay Johnson's press conference? Only losing one baseball recruit to the draft is awesome. I smell a repeat. Did you get to watch any of that? Jay Johnson goes an hour and 4 minutes the Monday of week 0 of the college football season. And I like it.
He did about a 15-minute opening without hardly taking a breath. It was very, very impressive. I think we're now seeing why Jay Johnson's so successful. I mean, attention to detail like nobody else. A bunch of left-handed pitchers. Look, you got a guy who's going to be the pitching coach, and he loves lefties. Terry Rooney, well thought of, back on the staff. But I think it's a little early to say repeat, but I do think that they certainly will be top 5, probably top 3 preseason.
By the way, they start October 4th is what he said.
I don't remember.
Fall ball starts October 4th. Guess when women's basketball starts? September 26th, I think.
Just practice? Or?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, we're a month away from women's basketball starting to practice.
Yeah.
And fall ball will be there. I mean, it's going to be around the clock. There's going to be a lot of stuff to talk about.
But suffice to say, I think you're going to need a program and to learn all the new pitchers and new players. And Mike, I think you could actually have more depth with the pitching staff. Remember, 4 guys got hurt last year and they still won the championship. But what's Gavin Guidry going to do? Is he going to pitch? He's going to play shortstop, 3 catchers back. I mean, you got a ton of talent back. And as we know, you cannot have enough pitchers in college baseball. You just can't.
Well, there's somebody else I want to talk about tonight, and it's Alumni Hall. Tiger fans, you want to show your LSU Tiger pride, head over to Alumni Hall. They're your ultimate shopping experience, the best and largest selection of apparel for the whole family. They've got all the new arrivals in time for football season. If you're heading to Orlando, you want to get over there. They've got the nicest polos and T-shirts, hats, everything that you're going to need. For the ladies, they've got the earrings and the hair stuff, anything you want, the face paint. But anyways, Nike Golf Champion, Columbia, Peter Millar, Southern Tide hats, Yeti gifts and accessories. LSU students, faculty, and the military receive 10% off in-store every day, and you can earn cash back with their Hall Pass rewards. Alumni Hall, located in Perkins Row, or anytime at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Tiger fans shop. And head over to Perkins Row. Beautiful store, great staff, fully stocked, and get all the latest and greatest. And I think they still have some of the LSU Nikes in stock if you're wanting to get a new pair of the 2023 college football Nikes.
Yeah. Give yourself 15 to 30 minutes. You're going to need it. And always, if you want to be styling for that first game, how many people do you know, Mike, personally going to Orlando? Do you feel like LSU is going to be well represented?
Yeah, it's, they're going to be in force. Absolutely. Okay. And you got a large – now, look, it's not like Houston, Dallas, or Atlanta, but you've got a large LSU fan base littered all through the state of Florida as well.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna scroll up and get to some more of these comments. Mike, who is faster, Chris Hilton or Aaron Anderson? That'll be Chris Hilton. I think Aaron Anderson probably is in the 4 or 5 realm. It's just his balance, his ability to plant and move and stop and go. Great hands, great ball skills, and I think they're gonna do. What are the average per punt?
3.3 yards.
What do you think it's going to be this year?
Hopefully like 10.
I was going to say over 8.
Yeah. Well, look, he's going to fumble one. He's going to take one to the house, and he's going to take one to the house, and there'll be laundry and a penalty, but appreciably better. And
but he's the type of kid, if he bobbles one, he's like Honey Badger.
He's got great handoff.
He knows where the ball's at. The bobble, you're going to stress, but he's not going to freak out and lose the ball on a bobble.
Chris Hilton, we've been talking about him in the practice reports. He got a shout out yesterday, and many people saw as Caleb Jackson was running around left end. And there were some missed tackles. I think Coach Kelly tells it like it is. This is why the LSU fan base loves this guy. He didn't sit there and say, yeah, that was the greatest run ever. He said, look, it's a combination of poor tackling, guys being tired, and him making a great play. But as he rounded the corner and was running, Chris Hilton was catching him and was right about at the goal line about the same time. Chris Hilton's a 4.4 guy. Once again, knock on wood, let's see if that kid can do something and stay healthy.
He's flashed a lot.
He could be a guy that nobody's talking about. He could be a surprise. Don't sleep on Shelton Sampson, Kyle Parker. I mean, this is what I'm talking about, Florida State and their DBs. They have no idea the depth of the LSU receiving corps, the depth of the running backs, the depth of the tight ends. And they're sitting there saying in Tallahassee, well, you have no idea what we got. Johnny Wilson and this and that. And Travis is better than Daniel. So by the time we get here in 11 nights, it's going to be damn fun.
Yeah, it is. I think it's going to be a really, really good game.
I do too. I do not see this being – I see this being a fourth quarter game.
I mean, it's the game of the weekend.
No doubt.
It's great for both programs. Sold game on a Sunday, Labor Day weekend, nobody has to work the next day. Man, we sure do have a lot of Seminoles in here tonight. Stephen Miller, I watched the Caleb Jackson screen pass touchdown video a few times and saw some glaring issues from a couple of guys on defense on that play. I chalked it up to a scrimmage touchdown. And that's what Brian Kelly said in different words. But at the same time, you don't take it away from Caleb. That's what a running back does. He takes advantage of your mistakes. And he's got great balance. He's a 10-4, 10-5, 100-meter guy. And so Jawan Hearns, I live in Orlando. The LSU buzz is real. I'll be there.
Good to hear from you, Jawan.
Absolutely.
Hey, look, Brian Kelly said this, and I don't know. Okay, so we're talking 11 days. Jawan, if you could, respond back to this. What is the temperature going to be at 6:30, 11 nights from now when they kick it off? Today at 6:30, we had a little cloud cover, got into the lower 90s, but we also hit 104 or 105 earlier. But do you feel like maybe we could get a game to start in the 90s and get away from all this and maybe even in the 80s? I think they're going to be well-conditioned because they've been out in it training before they started practice. And I don't know. We don't know how much he's been inside since we hadn't been able to cover him this week. But you got to be alternating that and keeping them out the heat a little bit, huh?
Absolutely. Well,
been brutal.
You're now heading to Thursday. He says they'll start preparing for Florida State tomorrow.
Yeah.
They're probably maxed out, or he's to the point now where they've started pulling back to get legs back for next week. Aaron Allgood, who are some recruits that could get an offer? Well, it all starts with jamborees this week. Of course, there's been some high school scrimmages. Me and my staff are going to be out, 3 or 4 of us out filming a lot of jamboree action. And we have got a full month of September slated already. We all figured out where we're going from week to week. So we're going to have a lot of prospect video coming your way, interviews while we're there at each site for the games. So that's why you want to be a subscriber to TigerBait. We're going to have a lot of premium video coming your way of all the recruits in the Louisiana area and maybe even beyond Louisiana. We're working on some of that as well.
Where's Edo Krabs tonight? Krabs, where are you?
Yeah, he's been in there.
Okay.
Big Cojones Kelly as well. Palermo Trapani, attention to detail. Brian Kelly like, and I dare say little Nicky Saban like. Certainly not Coach O or Les Miles.
I think he's a younger, happier Nick Saban. Now, look, Saban came over here, and he was 49 years old. Brian Kelly, of course, came over here, and he's 60, now 61. I think he's very similar to Nick Saban, but I do think he's happier, and I think he has let himself realize that this is probably his last hoorah. I don't think he's looking to go NFL. I don't think he's looking at any other jobs. I think he's changed appreciably. I saw one of the guys that, of course, has been stirring up some fire from Notre Dame. I won't mention his name, but most of you know who he is. And he was already predicting Florida State to win. There are a lot of people, folks, in this country that don't like Brian Kelly. And it just makes it even better for the fan base when Brian Kelly handles himself the way he does in press conference. But he's still got to prove one thing to everybody in the world, that he can win a national championship at LSU. And whether it's fair or unfair, that to me is one of the main reasons he came. And this is year 2. And so you're going to put pressure because Mulkey did it and Jay Johnson did it in year 2. But I like the direction that he's going. I do think they've got to get some DBs and more physicality in the back end and got to get more D linemen and D tackles. But I like the direction of this team. And the great thing about it is with Joe Sloan, man, keep him around because the quarterbacks that they've been bringing in, if they get Bryce Underwood or somebody else after Colin Hurley, it's going to be a hell of a ride for you Tiger fans.
And I would not trade LSU spot for Bryce Underwood.
Yeah. But don't you agree that the direction of the program, you like the way the pieces of the puzzle are fitting right now?
Yeah. But you get greedy.
For sure.
I sure would like to see the state of Louisiana produce some big-time defensive linemen. You sure would like to look around and say, hey, for the class of 25, there's another Glenn Dorsey, in South Louisiana. It's been a while, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how those cycles go around. We've had several years now with offensive linemen when this state, for the most part, really couldn't put out too many of them. And would like to see some more consistency with some defensive linemen that everybody in the country wants.
Well,
you got Donovan McKinley this year, but I'm talking about your, like your McKinley Jackson type, or, you had Jaquelin Roy and Jacoby and Gurley. Those guys were highly touted. But some more years like that you'd like to see around the corner.
Sure.
All right, guys. Let's see here. Cameron Rogers, I live in Alabama. I will be at the game in Orlando. Even Alabama fans are talking about the impact that LSU could have on the SEC this year. Even with the bad news, very excited for the season.
Look, week 1, LSU, Florida State. Week 2, Alabama hosts Texas. Texas coming into the conference. Oh, by the way, in case you hadn't heard the latest, the ACC is now entertaining once again Cal, Stanford, and SMU that's come to the party. Here's the problem. The SEC folks, their president, chancellor, and all that, they want to start divvying up the money in the conference in a direct relation to the wins. In other words, if you go 12-0, you get a lot more than the team that's going 4-8. But that is a very, very problematic situation. Mike, I'm sorry. Cal and Stanford all the way over here coming to the ACC. I just don't think it's feasible from a travel standpoint. But this craziness and expansion in college football is almost as crazy as the NIL and the transfer portal and everything else. It's just you've got to stay in tune. And obviously, the good thing about LSU and Florida State, they're the part of the haves, not the have-nots. This is going to be about 50 or 60 schools here in a few years, and both LSU and Florida State will be in that group, I think.
Absolutely. All right, guys. If you enjoyed the show, please hit that like button on the way out. If you're not a subscriber, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. As you can see, if you look at the channel, we're loading content on there every day. We're going to be adding more and more as the season kicks off. And so you want to be a subscriber to our YouTube channel, and also go to TigerBait.com. Got a lot of premium content there. Brian Lazar with another nice breakdown of the 2023 LSU football team that was posted this morning. Personnel, got more of that coming your way as kickoff approaches next week. So go to TigerBait.com, subscribe for $1, and try us out for a week. I really think you'll enjoy the site. Thanks, everybody, for participating. Thanks to my cohort, Buddy Songy, and we'll see you guys again next week. Good night.
We're good.